Hi, I'm Jim Greer from the Rondo Brothers, and I have a studio here in Berkeley, California. I've been working with a track from Kitka, who is the women's vocal ensemble, and they have an album called Wintersongs, and I am participating in a remix project, and so I am creating a new version of one of their tracks using just the a cappella from their live performance. So the tracks I chose to work with, there's two tracks. One is called Alilo and one is called Byla Cesta. Alilo I was attracted to because it's very strange and repetitive and trance-like, and I was mostly excited about getting to kind of write some music into and behind their voices that they would never let me do unless I had the a cappella sitting in my own studio and I could do it all by myself. So for my Alilo remix, I had an idea, a concept going into it, and anybody could do this. This is really easy. It's more about having an idea and then using the computer and the Pro Tools or GarageBand or whatever as a way of executing it. My idea was really simple. It was, I imagined what if I had this group of singers and then I had a little string quartet, which means like a violin sound on a keyboard, and then a guy with like a drum machine, and they were all on a stage. So the girls were singing, the quartet is playing, and the guy with the drum machine. So three main elements. And what I did here is, the first thing I did was I took the original song. So there's Alilo, there's the whole song right there, you can see all that, and then I listened to it like 5 times, and I sort of just listening to it thought, what parts could I cut out and use? And so then I started playing around, and I just that sort of sounds like a fanfare. So I thought, let's treat that like I think it is a fanfare. And then I thought, what interesting things can I do with the other parts of the track? So that's very weird sounding, and I added a bunch of effects to it, which I'll turn on now. And then I also took another piece of the vocals, and I just played around with it, chopped it up, and I think I made it backwards. No, I didn't. Which is another kind of chordal part, and I layered those two together, which is pretty straightforward, and that's how I get my intro. And then my drum machine guy comes in with this kick drum, and that's all it really is. It's just a kick drum down here. And I just played this in on my hand, and then I kind of moved it around. And that starts getting into some cool rhythms that would never happen in a normal Kitka song, and then I get into some claps. Added a synthesizer, and again I'm just sort of playing here. And I listened to this, what key the song was in, and I just played a little bass line that I thought was fun. And I added this, I wanted to have a build going up to what I would call the chorus of the song, the like light part. So I made the drums have it send to more and more reverb building up, so you hear that. So in my vision, this is the drum machine guy, and he's playing and playing and playing harder and harder, and the reverb is getting more and more. And this is kind of like the happiest part of the song, the sort of most major. So I cut it out here, and then I just played some string parts again. I had to kind of do it several times and figure out what they were singing, and sort of just going by ear, playing along. So those are the basic elements, and then after that, in any of these programs, it's really easy to, I basically came up with that much of it, and then I just kind of arranged it, which means I just took parts that I liked and I repeated them, just like any normal song would. Any average, typical song would have repeating parts, and then made an arrangement out of it, and that's primarily it. I did a little bit of fancy stuff with some weird effects, just for more ear candy, and also because the song itself, it's kind of like a drone. So to keep it interesting, once you take it out of the context of just people singing a cappella, you have to come up with other ways to keep it changing up and staying interesting. So I added some other things, but that's primarily what I did, and it's quite easy to do. And even just grabbing a little sample of their voices and bringing in some pre-made drum sounds or drum loops or percussion loops, just by doing just that, you can do amazing stuff. Kind of treating it like a finger painting. So you use them as this. They already put this big, beautiful finger painting on the paper, and then you just get to add more things and take things away until, using your ears, you can get to a point where it's feels like something worth listening to and something cool, and that honors the original song as well, which is kind of the idea. And with this particular group, you could literally do endless versions of these songs because there's so much there. And then the other track, Byla Cesta, I worked with one of my studio interns who's really into making electronic dance music. I keep envisioning you would hear if you went to Bangkok and you were at 3 a.m. in some club in a dance club, in the private special back room, this kind of song would come on and be have a very nighttime sort of sexy vibe. The way this song was formatted allowed for that to be done in a way that, almost like we had sampled some really interesting old 60s Eastern European folk album or something like that, and turned it into something that could be played in clubs today. Just astonishing. You sort of feel like you're hearing history when you hear these songs. I don't know anything about where the songs come from, and I'm not an expert on the genre at all, but I kind of like that because I'm just experiencing it as like someone who's never read a book and then learned how to read and is reading something really amazing. Every song is kind of like a transcendent experience. You kind of have to listen to the whole thing. You have to kind of close your eyes and just let it happen. And if you do that, you really get good stuff out of it. I'm glad they're opening up these songs for other people to play with, because I think that there could be all kinds of tangents can be found working on their songs, and new versions and dance remixes and whatever anybody would want to do. Take the kind of music you really like. So if you like hip hop, or you like dance music, or you like pop music, or you like classical music, whatever it is, and like put it in that box and do something based on that. So I use Pro Tools, which is kind of an industry standard in music and an easy program to get your hands on. Everything I did could also easily be done with GarageBand, which comes with every Mac, and also Logic. Basically any of the music software programs. Probably even, I don't use them very often, but I know there's iPad and iPhone apps you can buy now that you can load samples into and play around with, just touching the screen. The cool thing about the toolkits that are being made available is you can grab them, you can bring them into any any device that can do fun stuff with audio, and you can use it as a source. And as most people probably know, a lot of great music today, especially that you hear on the radio, is sample based. So it's basically like having this incredible source material to sample from, and then the possibilities are endless at that point.